All right, guys, so one of the things that I was asked, I get asked quite a bit, and we did this a lot with CNC. If you've done CNC work or anything like that, then it would make sense to what we need to do. But one of the things that's really important is creating like a template or a jig, whatever you want to call it, to where you could print, like, take for example this light cover, right? This light switch cover. So if you look at this image right here, and I'll show it to you, you can see that things are kind of off-centered because this is actually a 70 millimeter by 115 millimeter plate, whereas the ones that I have are 80 millimeter. So there's a 10 millimeter difference. So what I want to do is I want to be able to create a template, right? A sheet. And I'm going to use one of these acrylic pieces, but I'm going to create a sheet to where, and let me grab this acrylic piece and show you. I want to be able to take something like this. I want to cut the exact, like 3 across, let's say, and 3 down or 2 down, whatever. And I want to be able to place this inside and put it on the bed and just tell it to print. And it automatically know where this is at all times. It's in the exact same coordinate. Now, the video we just did, the earlier video that I put up there on putting the, marking your tray on your printer for your exact 0, X and Y axis starting point, you need to have watched that and done that in order to make this work properly, okay? So if you haven't seen that yet, please go back and watch that first, because you're gonna want your tray to have these lines, and I'll show you what it looks like. You're gonna want your tray to have these markings so that when you put your material, it's always going to the exact same spot. Now, if you've done that already, then we're ready to go to the next step. So what we wanna do is we wanna go ahead and we wanna open our rip print software, okay? Like you could see here. And so we know that we have our table set to 280 by 420. If you don't, you need to. So you need to set your canvas to 280 by 420 if you're using the UV-A3 Pro 10, whatever the hell they call it, the new one, okay? So once you have 280 by 420, we can start marking this off. So first thing we know is that for this particular template, it's 70 millimeters, okay? Now that's important because we can drag lines like this. See that line? We can drag these and put these on the sheet, hold our control key down, and set a coordinate for this line to be our line for our Y and X. You'll see the Y and the X lines that we put on to know that that's where our artwork goes. And let me give you an example. We know that this is 100, we know that this is 280, okay? And we know that these are 70. Ideally, we could fit 4 of these on the sheet. 4 times 7 is 28, so 4 times 70 is 280, but there would be no gap. And I want to allow for some overspray so I can kind of get the edge. You see how we get the edge there? So we want to be able to overspray both sides so we can have it fall. So the idea is to set this up in such a way to that we're equally spaced apart, but always in the same spot, right? So here's what we do. First, we say, okay, well, if we're going to use 210, which is going to be 3 plates, because 4 would put them together. So we're going to have 210. Minus 280 leaves 70, right? So let's do this. The first thing we're going to do is let's put our middle spot, because from there, that's where we can go. So I'm going to hold the, excuse me one second, sorry. I'm going to hold the control key down, okay? And I'm going to go over this line here. Oops. And oh, actually it's already here. And I'm going to tell it to mark the line at 140. That's exactly the halfway point. From there, I'm going to go 35 one way and 35 the other, and I know that my one plate is in the middle, perfect, okay? So I'm going to say 140, right? Minus 35 is going to be 105. So I'm going to click the line and drag it here, hold the control key down and cover until I get a double arrow like that. And I'm going to say, okay, 140 minus 35 is going to be 105. Boom. That is the left edge of my printing plate, okay? Then I know that 140 plus 35 is going to be 175, so I'm going to drag this here. Again, hold the control key, double click on it, and I'm going to say 175, okay? Now, the distance between this line to this line is 70, which is the exact same width, so I know that my plate is going to fit in that line, okay? Now, let's look at the top and the bottom of this. I don't really like going to the bottom sheet on anything because it's just the tray doesn't come out exactly all the way to reach that spot. So I'm going to say that if I was going to do this, I'm going to, let's say, give a 10 millimeter gap, okay? and we'll see how it goes. So first thing we want to do is from the top edge, because we don't want the edge to be on the top, we're going to drop down here, and we're going to, again, control, double click, and we're going to say we want to start at 10 millimeters, which means this plate on my template will be 10 millimeters from the top, and the left is going to be 105 millimeters from the left side to where it starts. You'll understand here in just a second, right? Now, the plate is 115 millimeters thick, actually, or long. Actually, if you want to be technical, it's not exactly. I will tell you real quickly. It is 114.5. The problem I have is I'm not going to cut 114.5. I'm going to cut 115 because in this case, rounding this up is not going to hurt me. There may be a little movement up and down in the tray. I don't care. But if I do 114.5 and I miss, my template's not going to be right. And let's just say that I don't know if all these plates that were sold at a discount rate on Amazon are going to be 100%. There's a fault tolerance. There's a tolerance of plus or minus, so I want to allow that. So we're going to say 115. Okay? So if I come down 10 millimeters from the top, I need to come down 125 millimeters to get to the bottom of the plate. So I'm going to double click and put 125. Now, if you look right there, forget this middle line. This is my middle plate on row 1. Okay? Now, doing that, we can look here and we could say, okay, let's see, we are at 105, right? And so 105 and 0, the midpoint between 105 and 0 is going to be 57, it's going to be 52.5, okay? But if I go 52.5, let's just say I'm going to do that. So I'm going to actually take this line now, my center line, and I'm going to double click, I'm going to go 52.5, boom, okay? That is the middle point between here and between the edge here. Okay, now, if I want to really be technical about it, I need to go 35, right? So I'm not even going to try to get this right, so let me just do my calc. 35, 52.5 minus 35 is 17.5. So I'm going to bring in my line to 17.5, let me control, 17.5, enter. And then I'm going to bring in the next line. Okay, so if we have 52.5 plus 35 is going to be 87.5. Okay, there is my second template. So here's my first plate now. Here's my second plate. And then again, we're going to do the same thing. So we're going to take this, and we know that between 175, right, and 280. So 280 minus 175 equals 105, right? Divided by 2 equals 52.5 plus 175 equals 227.5. That is our midpoint for the next thing. So I'm going to take this middle, and I'm going to hold the control key down, double click, and I'm going to say, okay, 227.5. That's my center. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to say 227.5 minus 35 equals 192.5. So let me bring this out, control, double click, and that's going to be 192.5. There's the third plate, the left side, and then we know 192.5 plus 70 equals 262.5. So I'm going to come over here and just make this middle one 262.5. Okay, now if you look at this sheet, you can see, you'll see 1, 2, 3 plates, and everything is equal distance, okay? So if we were to cut that out on our sheet over here, or the sheet over here, this acrylic that we're going to be using, if we were to cut that out, you would have those spaces, and in between those gaps, you'd be able to drop a plate in, put it on the tray, slide that tray into that marked area that we did that put our absolute zeros, right? And we'd be set, okay? So, but that's only row 1. So now we have to decide, okay, how far do we want to come down from row 1, from the bottom of the plate before we start the next plate? Well, we did a 10 millimeter gap here, and I don't see why we can't do another 10 millimeter gap. So what I'm going to do is, we are at 125 here, so I'm going to drag a line, and I'm going to double click it with control and put 135. Now, what that says is, here's our next plates, and then 135, and it's 115 more for the plate, so that's 250. So I'm going to drag a line, I'm going to click, and I'm going to put 250. we now have our second row of plates. Look at that. So our template will be row 1, and then our template's row 2, and then we have still some space here. So this was at what now? I can't remember. 250, and so we're going to do another 10. So we're going to basically do 3 rows. So we're going to start at 260, and then we know it's another 115, so that's going to be 260 plus 115 is going to be 375. So let's drag this, double click, 375, enter. And there is our row 3. Now, this is our leftover if we have a full sheet that's 420 millimeters long, okay? But what you can see is we've got a template set for row 1, columns 1, 2, and 3, row 2, 1, 2, and 3. So we've got 9 plates we can put on here without a single problem, okay? Now, the next part is to take this same thought and put it into like a CAD software that the laser printer or the laser cutter to my left, my X tool, is going to understand. So I'm going to stop the video here and we're going to go inside because my CAD software is on a different PC, and I'm going to show you guys exactly what happens here. But before I leave, I'm going to look at this. I cannot save anything yet, but I do want to show you, kind of give you an idea of what this might look like. So if I go to my, this is just a card print. If I go to my light switches, and I made a Mahomes TIFF file. Watch this. Okay, and I'm going to say keep it the original size. Where did it go? There. Check this out. Okay. So if I wanted to, look, I could just do this. There. That is one template. And then Control-C-V, and now I can move the next one and drag it to here. And I can shrink it down here like this because it needs to be the right size. I do not need it to be exact, so let me do this. Okay. Okay, and I can make another one and put it here. And before you know it, I have a page of 9 of them and just say print, and it's going to go through all of them. And I don't have to worry about measuring anything. Okay, so let me show you how this is done in CAD, and I'll be right back, and we'll cut that sheet on our X tool, and then we'll see how it works. See you guys. All right, guys. So here's what we've got. I'm going to go ahead and open that other file too. I think I can. So let me click. I want to open. Where the hell is it? Open, and yeah, right here. Okay. So this is the file that we made. Okay, and we're going to reference this, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back and forth between this file and my SketchUp file here. So here's SketchUp, right? So this file here, this sheet is, our dimensions are, 280 by 420, right? So I'm going to come over here. Now keep in mind that when I draw in here, it's always going to be times 10. So it's going to be 2800 by 4,200, okay? So let me do 2,800 by 4,200. Okay, and the reason we do it, okay, I know I put that, 2,800, comma, 4,200. There, okay? And that basically, and the reason I draw times 10 is because when you draw on a larger scale, you can actually make fine adjustments. When you draw to the actual size of 200 millimeter, you can't. So, and let me go ahead and go to my preferences. No. That's not where I want it to be, is it? No, sorry. Model info. And we want to be our precision to have it, there we go. And we're going to close this. All right. So if we remember the file that we opened, right? This one here. We know, let me zoom out. We know that we came in this far, we came 10 millimeters down, and this first one was 17.5. So we're going to come in 175, because remember, we're doing it times 10, and we're going to come down 100, okay? So here's our first box, right? And we said that our box, our light switch was going to be 70 by 115, which is going to be 700, comma, 1150. There's the first one, right? And then going back to our file, the next line is located at the 105 mark, which is 1050. So we're going to come in here and we're going to go 1050, and we're going to draw our next square, or rectangle, I mean, which again is going to be 700, comma, 1150. Okay? And the gap between these two is 175. So we're going to come over here and put 175, and we're going to put our third square. Okay? Which is 700, comma, 1150, enter. Okay? Now, that matches exactly what we've got here, precisely. Now, I think the next thing we did was go 10 millimeters down. That's exactly what we did. So we went 10 millimeters down. So I'm going to draw a line to here. And I'm going to say, I want to come to 1350. There it is. And I'm going to basically duplicate these. So let me do that. There we go. And then I'm going to come down again because we are doing 9. So this is at 2500. So we're going to go to 2600. And we're going to duplicate it one more time. Now, if I'm right, this next one should start at 2600. So let's go back to our drawing and see. Okay, we're talking about this line right here, and it should be at 260. I might be off a little bit, so hold on a second. Oh, you know why? Because these are set weird. So hold on a second. Let me do a control. 125. That's right. That's right. Hold on. That's right. And there it is, 260. So we are exactly right. Okay, everything is going. Sorry, one second. I think my wife just wrote me, so bear with me a second. And she's writing me again. Let's see. Okay, so now this is what's important, right? We want our template to match. Okay, so this is all that matters. I don't care if I don't cut the other end of my template off. What matters is this right here is always going to be our top left corner, or our top corner where everything starts. So that's why we wanted to mark our table. So here's what's going to happen, okay? So I'm going to take this, I'm going to delete the guides, edit, delete guide, because I don't need those on there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete these squares. Okay. Oops. There. Okay. And if I want, I can just give it, I know my sheet's about 3 millimeters thick, so I'll come up about 30. And this is what we're looking at for our template, okay? And I will use the bottom of this to say that it's a template for 70 by 115 light switches, okay? So that being said, we're good to go. So now what I want to do is I want to prepare. Now, if you have an X tool, you'll understand what I'm doing next, I think. Or if you've done any CNC work, you'll understand what I'm doing next. What I want to do is I want to go to parallel projection. And I want to say I want a top view. And I want to go to my extents right here. And that is exactly how I want to export this so I can laser cut it. So I'm going to click File. First, I'll save it, right? So I'm going to save this, and I'm going to go to my 3D print profiles, card prints, light switches, and I'm going to tell this is going to be switch templates, okay? Now, I'm going to take this one, and I'm going to export it as a 2D graphic, okay? Because it's got to be a raw 2D to be able to be cut. And here we go. And we're going to do a DXF, and we're going to call it switch templates, but this needs to be switch templates dash 70 by 115 by 9, and click export. Okay. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to open our X tool. Now if you have something else or you want to CNC it, that's fine. If you have an X tool like I do, this is what we're going to do next. Okay. I want to discard this. I have not turned my machine on, so we won't even be able to see it yet, but that's okay. All I care about right now is I'm going to import my image, right? So let me go to 3 profiles, card prints, light switches, and here it is. Here's my template. Now keep in mind, remember the template is times 10. So we have to reduce it to 280 by 420. There it is right there, okay? And we're going to click OK, that's good. So here is our template. And now what I want to do is I want to go ahead and just, whoops, turn it so it'll fit on the table, okay? and I'm going to put it most likely right up here because I have the bed marked in such a way so where this should be precise. Okay, now it may remove all the excess because the actual acrylic I'm using is a lot bigger, right? So I'm going to cut all the excess acrylic off. I don't care. But this will be the size templates I use because of the fact that the bed I'm printing on is only that size. Now, I don't have to cut the edge out. I can leave I can leave my acrylic like it is, right? It's not going to make a difference. So it's kind of a whether you want to or not. I'm going to do it just because, but it's definitely not necessary. All right, I'm going to stop the video here because I'm going to go turn on the X tool, the P2, and you're going to see exactly what happens from this point. I'll be right back. All right, so you can see now on the screen, we've actually connected, and I've put the acrylic already in there. I was off on this, so I need to move this over. So let me get this lined up real quick. Here we go. I think my son's coming here, so 1 second. Nope. I think he's trying to find me though, so hold on. I think we're going to be interrupted. No, I guess not. Thought he was. Okay. Let's zoom in here. And I'm going to try to get this to the best edge I can. That looks good right there. Let's do another close shot to make sure we're good on this side. Okay, we are, and I think everything else is going to check out. So we can zoom out here real quick. All right, so what we're going to do is let me get rid of this, delete close view. What we're going to do is we're going to tell the system we want to cut, right? And so the first thing we want to do is we want to cut these little squares out. So we're going to go cut. And I'm going to cut it at 17. And I'm going to ask the system, okay, that's good. Now let me get rid of that. Let's go over here and let's have it measure. So I want it to measure the thickness of the material so it knows exactly, should be between 3 millimeters, hopefully. Okay, so it says 3.1, that's fine. And let's see what else. We are going to define this as, I don't care. Actually, it doesn't even matter. So we want to cut this, right? And so now let's see what it looks like if we tell it to process. Okay, so it's going to cut our 280 by 420. That's going to be the length of this, okay? And it's then going to cut these squares out as well, okay? So I say we do it, and let's see what happens. And I'll turn the camera on there. Hopefully I'll be able to show you guys, but no matter what, we're just going to click Start. And I have to go to the machine now to do that, so I'm going to stop this video, and hopefully I can get a camera to show you guys what it's going to look like, okay? So hold on. All right, guys, so now we're outside. What you have on your screen here is going to be the X tool. You can see the X tool going. So I'm going to see if I can just get this to fill up the whole screen, maybe? I don't know. But in either case, let me see if I can raise this up just a little bit. All right, so I'm going to try to get this to get a good view for you. I don't know how much you're going to see because the laser arm itself is going to be in the way, but I'm just going to record it anyway so you guys can watch. So here goes. This is going to be cutting this sheet down to be 280 by 420 with those pieces for the light fixture being removed, the light plate being removed. So here we go. Okay, so that looks done. Let's see what we got. Look at that. Look how beautiful that is right there, okay? So now I'm gonna take this phone, let me go mount this back up on the system here, because we're gonna use this machine. This is the one we just put that whole outline on to know where our zero axis is. So now what we're gonna do is, let's just go ahead. Okay, here's our new template. And when we line it up here, look at that. Okay, it's perfect. Well, here it goes against the tape and everything. And now let's get our plates and see how well our measurements are. Here's a plate. Look at that. It's perfect. Okay. So I can literally sit here very quickly and lay out. I'm going to do that actually. I'm going to lay out 9 plates. Okay. And this is what making a template is all about, because now all I have to do, and you see there's a little play there, which is perfectly fine. I'm not worried about that play because, like I said, we're going to have that because I don't believe that any cheaply made product, and I promise you these are very cheap in terms of what they cost, they have a tolerance. And so look at this thing. You can now cut, or not cut, you can now print 9 of these quickly. Right? So there we go. And the cool part is I don't have to take the paper off this template. I don't need to do anything. I don't need to unwrap the rest of this acrylic. Some people can use wood because it's cheaper. I don't like wood. I like to use acrylic. I just love acrylic. I think it's a much more reliable product to use. Yeah, slide that in there. Boom. Okay. Alright, we got 2 more to go. We would have 9 plates. Okay, we get 1 more. Dropping all the screws everywhere. I gotta be careful of that. I don't want these screws to get something they shouldn't be in. So let me just make sure I select these real quickly. Put it here for now. Okay. Let's put this last plate. There you go. There's our 9 plates. Look at that. Look how gorgeous this looks. Okay. Now where'd that last screw go? I dropped the screw and I don't know where it went. That's not good. I'm gonna have to find that. I hope it didn't go in my board. Well, we'll deal with it later. I'll look later. Okay. So now I can just bring the table in a little bit. Raise it up. The light plates are automatically detecting it. And now I'm just going to go to my software over here. And I'm going to tell it to reset the light, and it's going to bring it in. And that's it. We now have a template. We can now go to our software, right? We can now go to our software and we can lay out our picture for this template. This is going to be so cool. Now, I'm not going to print 9 identical items. I don't really want to do that. But I'm going to print 1 and we're going to see how accurate it is, okay? So now we'll go back to that side and I'll be back here shortly. All right, guys, so now we've got our artwork done and we've got the template right here, as you can see right in front of us. So now what we're gonna do is we're just gonna drag the images in. And whoops, I don't know why I'm opening the browser. I didn't mean to do that. Bear with me a second, that was the wrong button. Okay, so we're gonna basically bring the images in and let's see, we're gonna do import. And we'll start with LeBron. And let's do, these were supposed to be 70, okay. All right, and let's put that here. All right, and you can see we're going to stretch it out. There we go. Okay, and then we'll do the next one. Let's import the next one. Hopefully these are going to line up. This will be a great test. Okay, and we're going to do 70. Okay, let's do that. And obviously because and before we go too far, they're light switches. They're longer. They're definitely not proportional to what a card is. So please don't be like, oh my God, the cards they're too long or they're not. Yeah, shut up. I know that already. But that's not the point of this, okay? The point is to kind of give you an idea of how the templates work. And if I'm going to have to keep these, I personally don't care. I've got these already. I've got one, not these. These are ones I don't have printed yet. But I've got one printed that looks just like this, and it's awesome. You wouldn't even know. I mean, like, you really don't. Not when it looks really awesome and whatever. So, all right, let's get Lamar Jackson. Put him here. Okay. And the idea, and I'll be honest with you, I did these kind of quickly. Didn't really worry about the lighting too much or anything, only because I wanted to show you guys about doing a jig or a template, which is the purpose of this whole thing. You guys can, which one did I just do? I did the dual patch. Oh, hold on, my son's texting me and it is almost midnight here, so let me make sure, yeah, everything's good. Okay, so let's see, we did the dual patch, do the patch auto here, okay. You know, it was really to give you guys an idea about how to do these templates and jigs. And I call them templates. Some people, a lady I was speaking to, she calls them jigs. So I'm like, now I'm saying templates and jigs because I don't know which way people say them, but I'm sure you get the point. All right, Wimbenyama, this came out really dark. That's just not a good picture. I hate to waste the ink on it, but the idea is I didn't do any lighting stuff. That's going to be on me. That's my fault. I get it, blah, blah, blah. The purple came out better. Okay. Okay, and then I don't have a last one, so I'm going to try to find one, and I think that there was a Joe Burrow, shoot, OCMYK final, patch auto. I was trying to see. It would have been on the 15th at 3:06. No, that's PM, so let's go this way. I'm trying to find it, guys. Sorry, I just want to make sure there's anything I can do to make this work. Man, that's going to suck. Let me see, is it this one? Whoops. I'm gonna do an import. I hate to do this on the wrong thing. Oh, but it's this one right here, I think. Okay, let me open that one. That could be it. I have no idea. Oh, okay. So what you can see right now, you see all these here. There's 9 of them. Sorry, I just opened it. And so now here's where it's important, right? There's a couple things that you need to understand. So the first thing is we're going to print this now, right? But when we print it, you have got to have your settings like mine. If you don't, it will not work. Did I just crash the system or what? Print. Okay. The most important part is that you have these, the first, second, third, and then the second to last one. You have got to have those done. It's got to be an absolute coordinate, and that's what this is, 0, 0. Okay? If you don't use absolute coordinates, it's not going to work. Everything gets put on this sheet, and look at the utilization of this. If this comes out like it looks here, this is going to be great. I don't care if if I didn't pick the cards I would normally use, or if it's a little dark here, whatever. I just don't care. Let me go to my printer here and tell it to reset the Y because I want it to bring that tray in. Dude, it's going to be so awesome. Okay, so so here's what we got now. So you have to make sure that you have those three, top 3 checked, horizontal, vertical, and absolute, and then second from the bottom, forward output. Once you do that, click print. And I'm going to put this in the light switch folder right here, and I'm just going to call it, let's see, 082224-9 plate -jig-test. Okay, so we'll do that one and click save. And it's going to take a little bit for it to save. Okay, so now that we've done that, there's one other piece that's critical. In your program itself, in the Print EXP, you must, under settings, you must have 0, 0, and these two checked. Okay, you have to, right? Because you want the machine to know that you don't want to offset from 0, 0. Your offsets are done, meaning your positioning of your artwork is done in this program. So you do not need the machine to do it for you. You want it to have that 0, 0 absolute 0, 0 XY coordinate every time it prints. So that's why you do that, okay? So as long as you have that done, this says it's finished. Now, this could go wonky. I hope it doesn't, but let me click Open File. And I'm going to go to light switch here, here, and this is it right here. And I am going to tell it that I want it to print in 16 pass. Whoops, not this one, sorry, this one. I want it to print in 16 pass. And if you click this here, boom, you will see now. So we will let this run, okay? And let's click print. Now, if the test, guys, is simple. If the jig, if the template, whatever you call it jig, if the jig is right, and everything is right the way I showed you, then these, all 9 should be printed on properly. If it's off, then we have to go back and figure out where the measurement was wrong. Here goes. I'm praying it's right. And I'm going to make my picture disappear here, so.
Dodgy. Dodgy.
Well, here we go. Let's see how we did. There's our LeBron James, and it came out exceptional. Extremely happy with LeBron James. There's our Patrick Mahomes. Okay, so there is obviously there is something with the alignment here, and you can see, and I have to check and see why that is, because the first row came out great. The second row had a little bit of movement. Whoops, sorry. Yeah, there we go. I quit hitting my webcam, sorry. There we go. So all in all, and I will lay these out actually so you can see them a little bit better. Okay. Heck, let me just do it like this. I'll just put them up here. Let's see if I can put them on my other machine. Oops. Look how good that looks. Look how great that came out. All right. So, that being said, I will say that hopefully, sorry, let me get this off. Hopefully that gets you understanding how to set up a jig, and it's simply this. How awesome. Piece of cake. I'm extremely pumped, man. I'm extremely pumped. Anyways, all right, guys. I hope that helps. If you have any questions, feel free to hit me up. Be more than happy to help you guys. I'm going to go put this video together now and get it published for you guys. Talk to you later. God bless.